To all who come, welcome.
Disney is a time machine that takes us back,
connects us together,
and shows us that not even wishing upon a star ever gets old.
Now come sit with your friends, Jonelle,
Sean,
and Megan as we deep dive into the heart of Disney.
Damn.
So you're not the only one?
She just got upset at me for literally getting into class 5 minutes late, opening up my notebook so I can get ready to take notes because I was scarfing the food outside of Weyerhaeuser Hall so that way I wasn't eating in her class. And I was trying to be respectful as I could to learn about the Bible. And she gave me an F on every single assignment except for my final essay, which was an A. And then she passed me with 100% for the entire class.
That's so weird.
No one said college professors made sense.
They don't.
They don't.
They're a
They
bit
never-
biased.
And a little bit too proud of themselves.
Oh my gosh.
And extra else. But we will not disclose that on this podcast.
Hello, friends.
Hi, friends.
Welcome.
I want to apologize in advance. I'm a little sniffly. I'm a little sneezy. I'm a little congested.
It's okay. It's college time. People are getting sick because they're mingling with one another.
If you are watching the podcast, hello. Special to you. We're all three of us are wearing some form of like university college gear today.
Hi, I'm the athlete. The genuinely like the real athlete in this situation. Wearing a college track and field that I participated in.
Nice save, considering I did compete in, as we've said, I've competed in high school sports as well.
This is college sports.
I competed in elementary sports. Does that count?
I did pep band. I went to sports.
You did go to sports, but you have a different type of sports.
Touche. Anyways, yeah, we're on Monsters University. If you haven't check out last week's episode on Monsters Inc. And then also, if you join our Patreon, we have an exclusive episode on our Patreon talking about Wicked for Good.
By the way, it's only $2 a month.
So be a member of our Patreon. Support us.
And listen to me cry.
And then don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell on all the things. And
Also, check out our TikTok. We're actually putting more content out for you guys. It's great.
anyways.
Oh, and final comment. Sorry.
Oh no, what are you?
At some point, I will become a licensed and appointed
No.
life insurer
No.
agent.
No.
That will be talked about later.
No. But and college.
College. That's
Hey,
where we all
it's
met.
all about sales.
Okay, really quick though. Beginning of the movie. Before you start going down business road. I knew you were gonna head down business road.
Yes! Considering the fact I also took an exam today.
Yes, I know.
I feel like a baby watching their parents. Boom.
They're there, sweetie.
Boom.
They're there, sweetie.
Thank you. Thank you.
But no. So when Mike, not the big beginning when like Mike decides to cross the scare floor and get his dreams of becoming a scarer, but like when he actually like gets to the university, are we in agreement that that is the most like that is like the perfect representation for a freshman entering college on like their first day with like orientation? Everyone's all happy, bubbly.
Oh yes.
Yeah. I will say, for me, coming into when we went to college, it was very happily bubbly. And I'm like, I literally just left an abusive relationship like 12 hours ago, and now I'm here. Sure. Disassociation happy bubbly.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny because I don't know if you two know this story, but during my freshman week during my freshman week orientation, they were seniors in high school. And so there's three main things I remember about it. One, I had to skip like some of the orientation because I got such a bad bloody nose. It went on for like 2 hours because it would bleed and then stop. And then something would happen where I like touched my nose or I sneezed wrong and it would start again. So I missed like 2 hours of orientation. That was fun. The smoke was so thick you couldn't see the moon or the sun. And then the other thing I remember is that during our first, like, it's the first, like, week or whatever. And I lived on the third story of this building. And I don't know what the hell happened, but we left our windows open because it was hot and ants were crawling all over my bed.
Was this in Stewart?
Yeah, yeah.
Wasn't that like a imprisonment type of building? Like Stewart was based off of like the design of a prison.
No, I don't think. No, Stewart wasn't designed off of the like representation of a prison. I just know Stewart was named. I know it was named after like Whitworth's second president, after George Whitworth was the first. I don't know design wise. Like the only one I really know design wise was
The Village.
Duval.
Oh.
Because it was meant to be designed like a castle, and hence it was called the castle.
Oh.
And then of course we lived in the foodie one. So our dorm was
basically Hufflepuff.
Aaron Hall.
Yeah. Our dorm had a fishbowl.
We called it the fishbowl. Basically, it was a movie room, but it had like windows on it, so it was like a fishbowl where you're like looking in.
We basically lived in that room 24/7, but it was also the closest dorm to the cafeteria. And so the foodies at heart lived in this dorm essentially.
Yeah, because it was like a 5-minute walk, like less than like a 2-minute walk to the like.
It wasn't even like a 2-minute.
It was across the street from us.
Yeah, like you just go out of the building and you see the next building you need to go to get food, and it's right there.
So while me and Megan were watching Monsters University, and we saw the fraternities, I was sitting there trying to figure out which one was which dorm hall at Whitworth. So the Roar Omega Roars, like the main one that's like against Uzma Kappa, the Roars are definitely Mac.
Which is the all boys dorm at Whitworth.
Yeah, Macmillan Hall is the only dorm at Whitworth that's like the only like guys only.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the Pinks,
Ballard.
Mm-hmm. Which is the all girls dorm.
Yeah, the only all their doors.
And then the rest are co-ed.
Yeah.
All their other at Whitworth they're all co-ed dorms, but Uzma Kappa, Stewart Hall.
Stewville.
I don't want to do that to my poor village peeps.
Okay, so Stewart.
Do you agree with on that one? Stewart is Uzma Kappa.
Stu Bop the Ville.
Stu Boppage, technically.
Because you gotta admit, there is some parts of like the villages that like you could kind of see in there where there's that more unison community aspect of like Mike and Sully, or like also in Bopel where essentially you have the mother kind of continuously entering in.
Stu Boppage is a combination of like 3 dorm names that would typically like be grouped together, and that's Stewart Hall, Bopel Hall, and another like resident hall that was called the Village,
Which was made up of 3 small buildings with mostly singles except for the RIs.
Yeah. And then you have the Eeks, which to me gives BMAC.
Oh, I was thinking
Or not BMAC.
Oliver.
No.
Duval.
No, the other one. BJ.
Oh, yeah, BJ.
Baldwin
Oh,
Jenkins.
Yep. It's like a freshman only dorm.
guys, BJ is not what you think in this context.
Baldwin Jenkins.
Yes, we must clarify it is Baldwin Jenkins.
And then you have the Jocks, the like yellow one, which I 100% see as like Oliver or Duval. Do-Oliver, if you will.
Duvaliver.
I mean,
Well, okay. Or then we also have the Hiss.
I see Hiss as Bopel.
I see Hiss more as Oliver. And then
Jocks as Duval.
Jocks as Warren.
Warren. Oh, I forgot about Warren.
Yeah, because Warren.
You lived in Warren.
I know, that's funny, huh?
Because Warren is kind of like the next like co-ed that has both athletes, and it's right next to the music center and the theater of arts and other things.
I'm just going
also
off of like the
amazed.
vibes though. Like if you look at like the jocks, we're looking at I have them like pulled up on a phone. Like
Yeah, I mean the jocks are definitely Baldwin, or not Baldwin, BMAC area.
well no, so Roars, Mac, Ballard, Stu Boppage, then Baldwin Jenkins, and then we have these two.
Yeah, I think Hiss has to be Oliver, and then Warren has to be the jocks.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah.
because Oliver is so like it's like the newest building, right? So it's like very fancy.
And it has like nice elevators that keep continuously getting broken, and
Oh my gosh, and they have like 2 kitchens and stuff like that.
they have like nice furniture, this big open
Multiple-
concept.
Multiple study rooms.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So fun fact, I used to live in Oliver. Um I lived right next to a study room. I was like, this is a great idea. It'll go great, right? Turns out there's like a rule on campus that's like, hey, do not do the do.
Our college campus had 3 main rules, and that was no substance use,
No fornication, no drugs or alcohol, and no disturbing the peace.
no violent or aggressive behavior. Not disturbing the peace, violent or aggressive behavior.
And let's just say that that study room always smelled like human musk.
Enough said.
Ugh.
Oh,
But
it got so bad that like I was always calling the RA on call. Because I was like, it's at it again.
but no, I don't. How did you guys feel like just watching the movie? Like now that we're post college, how did it feel looking basically back at a freshman year?
I feel like Sully. Like honestly, like my college journey was like a little bit like Sully's, come in high and proud, and then gets humbled, tossed around a bit, and then comes out victorious.
I felt like Mike.
I was gonna say that low key.
I don't know. I think Sean and I were talking about this early in the car because I'm going to go back to school eventually.
You're the people in the Stu Boptheville.
Do Boptheville. And yeah, I'm like Don, the guy with the mustache, who's like, I was in this for 30 years and now I wanted to go back to do my life's calling, but I'm not going to marry the mom because that's just awkward.
That all there.
You are the mom.
Shut up. Anyway, so I was like,
Oh God, I was gonna pull a cougar joke.
No, don't do
no,
that.
that's
Don't
my
do-
parents. They're literally the cougars. So
Wait, they went to WSU?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that makes so much more sense
I
now.
know. Listen. My parents are big WSU people. In fact, most of my family is WSU.
Mhm.
And you can tell because all the members who went to WSU have a WSU themed bathroom. I'm not kidding. My grandparents do. My grandparents' lake house does.
Your
My
parents'
parents'
house?
house, which is decked out in WSU memorabilia, he can vouch for this. My aunt and Uncle Rob have a WSU bathroom. Let's see who else. My grandpa used to have a WSU themed bathroom. Oh my gosh.
And then don't your other aunt and uncle have a
Should we
have a
create
UW?
Whitworth themed bathroom?
No.
And then the other one, the other set.
Put a cross above the toilet for holy shits.
And then we can have another sign because Whitworth was the pirates that says you're stealing my booty.
Oh, we gotta do this. This would be funny now. Okay, if I end up making the sales work out for life insurance and I buy a house with multiple bathrooms, we'll do this.
Oh god, that's too much fun.
So, yeah, words, language, basically, it was like looking back and being like, wow, we put a lot of expectations like on 18-year-olds to be like, oh, you totally know what you're doing. You totally know where you're going with your life.
Oh,
See,
And like, yeah, you totally have all these responsibilities of like
Yeah.
being an adult.
no, we don't.
And I'm like, Well, like that's like
Yeah.
I look
It's
back
like-
at it now and I was like, I literally held, and this is why I said I was more like Sully, because literally I came in such high ground of like, yeah, I just got out of an abusive relationship. Nothing can conquer me. I can take over the world type of attitude. And then, COVID hit, and then I got humbled a bit by my addictions, and then not actually dealing with my issues. Sorry, this is going into some trauma bonding, but
We became friends though.
yes, we did become friends. You look around everything from the internal storm, and I broke my arm on the first day of spring break.
Oh my God.
Hilarious.
It was so funny.
Hilarious.
I was there.
I know because we were supposed to hang out that day
Yep.
before
Yeah.
I went home, and I get this phone call. And I remember it vividly because I'm walking home from I'm like packing or something. And I remember the phone call being like, "Hey Megan, it's Sean. Sean, you never called me. What's up?" Yeah, so Jonelle broke her arm skateboarding. Me and
Taylor
and Savannah, I think.
yeah.
Savannah have to go take her to the emergency room.
And like I think we walked down the street
Yeah.
to
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
remember
so it
being
wasn't the emergency
It was
room.
urgent care.
Yeah, it was in urgent care because they had an x-ray at the urgent care. So they took an x-ray to see how broken my arm was. In fact, it was very broken. And then they suggested for me to actually go to the ER to get surgery that night because I was losing circulation in my arm and was in risk of getting it amputated.
Yeah, I just
So with this movie, it was really hard for me to watch.
I was the puffball scene. I was the literal.
don't touch it. Touches it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you are.
Yes.
You are
You're
that
literally
person.
that.
I am
The
that
purple guy.
person.
You're what's his face?
Art.
Art.
The
Artie.
Art.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The,
Like,
The bendy guy.
the bendy guy.
The noodle is what we call
so
him.
this
I-
movie was really hard for me to watch. Megan can attest. Like I had a really hard time watching it because, realistically speaking, there are 4 main types of college students.
Yes.
The athlete.
No.
We're not.
Not in that sense of type of college students.
Oh.
It's relating to like schoolwork and things like that. You have those that have the drive and the talent. Those that have the talent but not the drive.
Which is a lot of Whitworth students.
Those who have the drive but not the talent.
Me.
And then the person that just has none of it. That shouldn't even be there, but somehow got in.
Yeah.
They're probably on an athletic scholarship. But it was hard for me to watch because when I was in high school and I was going to be a music major, my dream to this day was to be a musician for Disney in the parks, or to be like a musician for Disney in terms of like movie soundtracks. And I thought I was good in high school, don't get me wrong. And then I was really, really, really not prepped for college.
College music specifically.
College as a music major. And I felt like Mike. Like I was absorbing content super well. I was doing well in all my classes freshman year. And then a music program is a lot like the Scare program in Monsters University, which is why it didn't help, because like how in the movie they had a final exam at the end of the semester where basically they had to pass or they were kicked out of the Scare program, music majors have to undergo jury performances every semester. But also, I don't know if this is like every music program, but at least at Whitworth, at the end of your sophomore year, it was your expectation that you would undergo an upper division audition, which they determined was like your formal entering into the music program. And obviously I never finished my music degree, and I would still love to do so. But I remember at the end of my freshman year, you basically got like that jury performance. At the end of your freshman year was like almost like a practice audition, basically. Like they would look at you and say like, how prepped are you for your upper division audition? Like what's the likelihood that you'll do well and stuff. They were like, the comments I got was like, I had no chance based off of where I was currently at.
To be fair, a lot of the Whitworth students who come in from music are generally because we went to basically a white privilege school.
We did.
And knowing white privileged kids, a lot of their parents pay for them to have music lessons growing up because it helps build some of that intelligence of being able to concept math along with like it's a different way of looking at fractions and different types of math early on that's easy to kind of verbally and auditorially.
Well, and even psychologically, like music activates so many different receptors in your brain to where, like, I remember it was like my freshman or sophomore year, like it was in high school, I like really wanted to take AP Chem, and at that year, most of the AP Chem students were all band kids.
You should talk to Whitworth because Whitworth is actively right now still trying to like change their programs to entice more students to come in. They also recently lowered tuition a lot to just essentially laying out what the actual cost of tuition is, and then all of the other additionals is what makes that 58,000. But if you are just paying for your tuition, this is what it is. But I think considering the fact of how close music is to the psychology and educational department, having that vocational psychology with the music.
But yeah, that's why this movie was hard, because I basically saw myself in Mike, someone who had so much drive, and like you see in Monsters Inc., he's not a scare, he assists Scully, and it was a big pill to swallow for him to understand he's not a scarer. He doesn't have that talent, and oftentimes I find myself even now. I can still play my saxophone. I can play I play my piano. I basically have been self-teaching myself piano, and so I don't know. I just saw a lot of myself in Mike, and seeing his hardships. I'm like, and how he like the emotions that he went through. I definitely resonated on a very deep level with that.
I mean, I definitely resonated with Sully because I mean, I'm able to sit there and I'm able to perform because I mean, I was there for. I mean, okay, so our school wasn't big enough that there was like actual scholarships for athletic performance. So that was essentially like a voluntary type of thing. But I did get accepted into their athletic program and I was a thrower. Like I could throw, I could very much perform.
Hammer.
I did hammer, discus, and shot put, by the way. Yeah, look at these muscles.
You're the cool version of the Trunchbull.
Yeah. I got a cool tattoo. I got several of them. But it's like I could definitely perform. And then when it came down to my educational studies, I went into essentially a degree that I didn't know much about, which sounds very funny considering how much I love money and I love counting money and I love math and things like that. So I was like, okay, going into business will be fine because I know like background math knowledge and things like that. But when it came down to the concepts and what makes business transactions occur and the logic behind business transactions, I went to Whitworth specifically to learn about that because I did not know anything really about it. And I knew that growing up in my situation, I wanted to be able to take whatever skill I could and apply that to any business that I wanted to create because before that, I was considering going to WSU for a culinary arts degree along with a bachelor's in business. But I think it's stupid. And there's nothing wrong with someone going to a vocational school and getting skills. But as a cook, it is so stupid to get a degree to being a cook because there is no educational background really needed to become an executive chef or a sous. Like, none of it matters. The only thing that matters is being an entrepreneur and starting a business. And so that's why I just went into business, because I'm like, if I understand how to do that and I learn that, then I could do anything I want. And here we are with me with my master's done now. And I see I truly can do anything that I want,
Mm-hmm.
but my decisions I made back then didn't lead me to where I want to go. So now I'm having to go through all these trials to get where I'm actually going.
Yeah.
And it feels great. Like,
Mhm.
I feel finally like happy and proud at the moment, because I also got my first debt settlement. I forgot to tell you that.
Congratulations.
And I didn't have to pay a single penny like out of pocket because it was in the savings. Anyways, besides that point, I was so excited about that.
Adulting.
And this is why 18-year-olds are not adults, okay? Because I made stupid decisions when I was 18 that I did not think about was going to be future consequences, which led into a debt cycle, which is funny when you look at a business major. Like, you're in debt. What the hell? Like, why do you have this continuous business cycle? Well, I don't have mommy and daddy to pull me out. I have myself.
I remember someone. I think we remember who they. But all three of us might remember who they are. I think she got like gifted like a white Tesla or something like that.
Oh, it starts with an E.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's like mommy and daddy's money. Like it was so bad how
Oh my
much
God.
Tesla.
Actually, I have one sort to one up you with a Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew someone. I don't think you guys know them because like they graduated by this point. So I heard this from their brother that their mommy and daddy got them a yacht.
What the hell?
Guess what? This person doesn't have a boat license,
Huh?
and they bought them a yacht.
Reminds me of like these videos. I saw this video once too. This woman brought her 4-year-old the newest Tesla model and is keeping it in a heated storage unit
As a
for when they
person,
eventually can drive.
as a person who's getting their state license to sell life insurance, the only thing I will be gifting my children
Is life
is
insurance.
is the continuation of my life insurance annuity index fund. Yeah. Because you know what? That's going to grow with an interest, and whatever policy I put in before I die, like, I'll have my death benefits, so my shit will get paid, but it also grows in interest, which is really cool. So when you pay your premiums, it goes to paying for your death benefit, but there's also a portion of it that goes into a savings for retirement.
Yeah.
And after that, when you have died, you still have that money from the savings from retirement that goes into your death benefit to pay for your death. But then, sorry, I know I'm going on a tangent here, but it's just because I've been studying really hard for it. And it's funny because I literally failed the exam this morning by one question.
Oh,
I have really bad tester's anxiety.
me too.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's so bad.
And it's so funny because all of the practice exams, I was getting 90, 95%. And I'm like, okay, this is great. We go in there. And then I go in, and all of the wording is like slightly different than what I've been going through. And so then I'm like, well, technically this word means this. So that means technically it could be that. And then like I overthink it, and I'm just like, well, yeah, I guess if you use the word in this context, that is true. And I'm sitting there like just okay, when I was taking my exam, it was so funny. I was literally playing finger puppets to act out insurance policy issues. So I'm like sitting there, and I'm just like, okay, the policy owner. And then I'd point at myself, and I'm like, me, the producer. And then here, the insurer, like the insurance company. And then I'm just like, okay, they have like finger families over here, and these people got finger families over here. So I'm like sitting here doing math with family fingers and puppeteering to find the correct answer. It's so funny. I totally forgot where I was going on this tangent, but just that like it Yeah, I feel pretty confident like where I am, but when it comes down to the pressure,
Okay, I think we need to talk about the meat of this movie, the scare games. Unless you have something.
I want to add that there's like I want to add what type of student I was because you
Oh.
talked about how you were like you had the drive but not the talent, and then Janelle had yes,
the
Janelle had the yes.
I had the talent. Well,
I think you had the talent to like have you in like
I had the talent for other things, but
the
I
other
did not
things.
have the education
Yeah, I feel like
for what I wanted to do, which is why I went into business was to gain that education.
I was gonna say you had talent in like your track and field and like your I don't want to say like in your
And
extracurriculars, and then you had the drive in your like actual
vocational.
vocational like thing. Does
Yeah.
that make sense? I was sent to college to become a pastor. Um, yeah, most people.
You're saving us, right?
So, so I'm gonna make like two really quick stories. One, most people sing in the shower. I was told that I sounded like a dying whale when I was young, when I was singing. So I did sermons in the shower. I would pick a random Bible verse, I would read it before going into the shower, and I would make a sermon out of it. Am I a nerd? Yes. I also just really wanted to be a pastor because I was 8. Um, and so I have two other siblings, and my dad was a traveling businessman. And so when he introduced our siblings, he like told him like his clients things about us. And so my dad would introduce me like, "Hi, this is my eldest. This is Megan. She's coming. She's like going to school to be a pastor, and she's going to save me from like all the dumb stuff I do on earth." And I always felt really pressured to do that because I was like, "Oh my gosh." One, that's not my job, but two, like
That's his own job.
that's like literally God's job. I didn't sign up for that. But like,
I was like, that's between him and God.
right? I'm like, that's not my job.
I
But
feel
like,
like that's the one thing I have learned about Christianity.
most of it is not our job.
Yeah.
Most of it is just like, do you believe in Jesus? Yes. Okay, then God does the rest. Um, unless you believe in
Blinded
works.
trust.
Yeah. But so my parents would like describe it as like, oh yeah, Megan's gonna save us. She's gonna be a pastor. And I remember like specifically this came into play because I failed biblical Hebrew because it's a dead language. It's really effing hard because most of like the dead language is around like stuff in the Bible. So I remember there was like 3 different words for sacrifice, right? And like
Well, also, like, it doesn't account for like vowels, so it's not like a direct translation per
yeah,
se,
and like
it's
by the way, the vowels were dots and dashes, like above or below, and that could change the whole word. And so I really struggled with it. And I didn't tell my parents I failed. And they were like, they were bragging to their friends about, oh my gosh, my daughter's taking a dead language. And so, like, ever since I was little, I was like expected to become this pastor. So by the time it was senior year in college, and I was like, I hate my degree. I would go into class and literally have panic attacks because I was like, one, I was already triggered by it during 2020, and two, I was like, yeah, turns out I don't really believe in this God that like specifically the Whitworth professors were like stuffing down my throat, right? And so I was like, I want to explore this faith thing on my own, but literally I can't do that because I'm in the middle of a class that's forcing me to like basically engage in my faith with this specific way. And I hated every like class I was in. I hated everything. If it weren't for Sean forcing me to do assignments, I would have done nothing during my senior year of college.
I will say any class that I had that was not a business class, the professors definitely did kind of force their beliefs
Yep.
into your throat. Now, the business professors, I mean, they're very classic people of I do what I want and you
Yep.
are the driver to your own success, but this is how I did it. And let's look at other people's examples, but I'm going to hold my high horse too.
See, music.
Can I add one thing before you
Yes.
go? Okay, so I have this beef with one class, which is really funny because I personally knew the professor before Whitworth. He's a family friend.
Oh, Christian theology.
Christian theology is a class where you talk about theology, and you're like, Megan, that's your whole entire thing. So, like, the idea between behind Christian like theology, the degree is like there's three different types. There's like history, so like the history of like the Bible and like Christians. There's like the book, so like your literature class, right? Which is like, oh, I'm reading the book of Mark. This is what the book of Mark says, dissecting it like a normal ass book. And then there's like the third one, which is talking about like the big, deep, thinky, thoughty stuff, right? Which is like, what does it mean to be a Christian, and what like thoughts? So like
This is where
the
Whitworth's
interpretation.
whole thing of uh core.
yeah, so like this is core stuff. This is like when people are arguing over like faith, they're doing the theology part. Most people are like, yes, Mark says XYZ. Yes, you can read the books and like, yeah. And people don't really argue about the history because it's very documented. But like
The theology part is much of like the interpretation
the
side of it,
interpretations
and
and
really,
stuff, yeah.
understand.
So this is where we learn about what the Trinity actually means. This is like where we talk about like predestination. This is like the place where we talk about the interpretations of the Bible. And so I had this one class and I took it twice because I failed it the first time. I was like, I'm going to get a different grade. I did the same grade. Exactly. But the tests, I knew, like, I could explain the definitions to you of what this guy was talking about, right? My professor. I'm going to call him Professor A because I don't want to actually dox him. But the tests were literally like, what did I, Professor A, think about this person's thought about predestination? What did I, Professor A, think about the interpretation of sin?
That was like core 150 for me, and I hated it.
Yeah, but that's how the test was. I was studying like, oh, the Trinity, oh, the different heresies of the Trinity.
I think that's so unfair to do tests like that.
Me too, because I'm like, how am I supposed to remember what you said? Because I was more focusing on like the parts that would actually like, in my quest to become a pastor, what would actually matter? Professor A's thoughts on it, or the actual like way the Trinity is formed.
It also kind of depends on what church you would be preaching
what domination are you preaching, like, and like
to who you're preaching,
and yeah, all that stuff.
your
really need to know that.
vocation.
Yep.
So many variables.
And so like
I hate that.
I know, and it was the worst. And I remember the first day I was in this guy's class, right? I'm sitting in the front row because I'm blind. And he's like, oh, Megan, you're finally in my class. Guys, me and Megan are friends.
Spotlight on you.
And I was like, oh, fudge. And I hated that class because I was like, oh no, now I have to like, my parents know this guy. Like, they talk all the time. They have monthly dinners together. I can't fail his class or talk bad about him and like complain about his class because they're family friends and they gossip.
See, like, you're in like how like the business professors are. Before we like move on real quick, the music professors are the most irritating thing ever because it's music. So as one, you have one of the most subjective concepts ever being graded on
Now, I
someone
think
else's.
this is because we went to a liberal arts college too, which doesn't help.
But also, I remember my theory prof. Going into college, I was ecstatic to have classes with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
He sounded like an absolutely phenomenal person, and he was phenomenal. And he let us all know about it on day one as we were going over the syllabus, and he talked about everything he has done. The music department is full of such high horses.
Yeah, they're egotistical.
Very egotistical, very prideful. They don't want to help.
See, this is why I like business, because we talk about everyone's mistakes and how people overcame those mistakes. And then you get to see, which is so stupid, it didn't connect until I finished my master's. But once I finished my master's, I was able to see the whole overarching, because we live in a capitalistic society.
I feel like we need that on a t-shirt.
But we live in a capitalistic society, and living in the capital market is economics. And I hate to say it, but when you're in an economic market, you need to understand how it works.
Well, and that's the hard part about being a music major, because whereas you guys talk about everyone else's mistakes and how to not prevent those mistakes and like how to prevent those mistakes and stuff, music majors, it's literally a major in perfection. You don't get a choice in that, because the problem is you hear it.
Yeah.
If you're listening to a song and someone hits a wrong note, whether it's instrumental, whether it's vocal, and they're out of key, you hear it. It is noticeable, and you will immediately judge that person no matter what. So a music major has no choice but to be perfect. And your professors expect that from day one. And it is the most pressure-inducing thing that no other major has to really deal with other than maybe healthcare.
I was gonna say like doctors and nurses also because like you only get heart surgery once, man.
But this is why I just think there's some degrees out there. And I mean, like, liberal arts educational is totally fine. I think there's nothing wrong with having a liberal arts education because there's something about it that really kind of gets you into thinking more philosophically and getting you into vocational services, which really empower and help the society. But really, college should be towards the economic benefit of society and achieving academic standards that are meant to more accelerate and then like I would consider music to be more of a vocational service. I would consider music to be more of a vocational service, you know?
Problem is that music, I don't. There's a reason why there's specific music schools. Like you'll hear about Berkeley or Corn. I think there's one called like Cornish in Seattle.
Cornell.
No, Cornish.
Mm.
It's in Seattle specifically, not Cornell University.
Mm.
But because Whitworth didn't, we had private lessons, and obviously everyone is required to be in an ensemble. But you did not. What you were learning was not being connected to your playing classes, so your lessons and stuff. So, and to be fair, not all of it would. Music Theory 1, when you're learning about like literally the mother of all basics of like basic chords and
Counts.
triads and the different clefs, like obviously that's not going to really connect. That's like a cakewalk.
Yeah.
But like when you're like learning music, like the real deep music theory and music history and ear training stuff, that's not being connected to your lessons. It's not being connected to your ensemble work.
Which that's not helpful at all. And
No.
this is where like I'm really grateful that Whitworth's business program not only did every class really advocate towards going by the book, but they also pushed us into projects that would benefit the community and like would actually resemble real work.
Yeah. But anyways, no, so back to Monsters University though. The scare games. What is your thoughts on the scare games? Like as like a campus event and then like the Greek system.
Okay. I have a lot of thoughts. I'm not a huge fan of the Greek system. Okay. I think as a fictional thing in a fictional world that I don't have to touch because I'm not a monster, I think the idea of watching it is very fun. But I can totally see as like just like a normal student, right? Like who's like studying in the library and then the scare games are happening.
Oh, that's annoying as fuck.
I would be so annoyed. Like I got annoyed with like the football games that would happen because you could hear them across campus and we had a effing cannon that would go off whenever there was a point scored on our side, which obviously you want the points to be scored. But I do not want the effing cannon to fire every 15 minutes. Thank you. Let's go Bucks. But like
I will say that's the one thing I hate about college is that go. I mean, like, yeah, it's great when you're a freshman, but then after that, it gets real
I
annoying.
think something I wish, looking at our college experience and looking at Monsters University, I appreciate anyone that's trying to bring school spirit into things because it is a break. It's a really nice break. But I think that schools should really try to acknowledge other avenues besides football games and all
Football or
these
like sports
like
things.
like what I like about the scare games is that like how we just went through and kind of like categorized like what the different frats or and stuff were with like our dorm halls on campus. I like we did this in the village when I was in RA. We had these inner inner village competitions. We called it
Mhm.
the Tri-Village Tournament as like a pun off of Harry Potter because we had three village buildings.
Mhm.
And we would do like a little competition. It was, I think we did it like every other month or something like that. But it was a nice like break, little something fun to do with our residents. And I liked that about the scare games is that it was like it's a break from school. It's a nice campus like hurrah thing. It's between different like basically different dorms. Yes, it was frats and sororities, but like
This is where I like programs. Sorry, gonna go back into the business here again. But in the School of Business, we often did a lot of different things like that. One of them was actually like investing in the stock market with Whitworth's money. Other ones were yes, we actually did do that. And a lot of business students do that at different universities. Another one, though, was also just like actually going out and essentially just doing real work, but like in a like competitive style that allows students to have a passion and a goal and something to look forward to, and it gives them an avenue of exploration while learning and finding whatever avenue works for them.
mhm. Yeah, I don't know. I like something that I really like things that rally people together in joy. That's my thing. Like something when you bring people together and they get to experience that joy together, and it's not like stresses out the window. It's a
This is
nice
why I
like
like board games.
Here's the thing. I like them in theory, but there are some that are also just more disruptive than they are good.
oh
Like
yeah,
like I mentioned like the football games earlier, that was like a whole season, right? Of like every Saturday cannons would go off, right? Where like that's fun for the people who are playing or sitting in the football stadium. But there's the rest of us who are like, okay, well, like, I don't want to hear. Like, I knew a person who got triggered by it. It wasn't him. Or you. But, it wasn't me.
I don't even think I was there because I was probably working.
Yeah, but, like, I knew a person who was triggered by it. So they had to stay on the opposite side of campus because of it. Um, I think of, like, oh, my hall, Oliver Hall has a big party every year. And
Mm.
yeah, and it was huge. And I remember that my friends had to literally drag me out from this place because it was so loud. I was literally throwing up.
reminds me of the holiday movie thing that we did in Errand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I'm like,
Oh, deck the halls.
deck the halls. I think I think school spirit can be wonderful and it's like something to rally people together. But like also there is something to be said about like disrupting something that like is like other people's lives.
Can we do it in a more societal way?
Yeah. Or if like for example, Deck the Halls was wonderful because it was like although it was like on the first floor of like your dorm,
Mm-hmm.
there was other places like they weren't going into other people's rooms. Like it wasn't so
Unless it was volunteered, because we would block off part of our rooms to make scenes for the movie.
but like it wasn't the RAs being like, we are going to use your room, right? And if I didn't really want to be there, I was in this, like, I was on the first floor. But, like, let's say XYZ person didn't want to be there, there was, like, other places they could hang out within the dorms, right?
My only thing, are you finished or?
I just feel like if they are going to do something loud, they need to require a safe space too, like a quiet place.
See, raves do this, and I love it so much because they literally give you a chill zone where they hand you like stress balls and fidget toys and beanbag chairs and water bottles
I
and earplugs too, and you sometimes get your rave mom to hang out next to you and just like pet you while you're sitting there trying to calm down.
I think it's really important to have like because some people love to celebrate and have it be loud and obnoxious. And I can totally be that person who's like, I want it loud and obnoxious. But I also am that type of person who's like, I want to celebrate this by being quiet.
See, there's something to be said though, and I'm saying this purely for in reference to Oliver Twist, which was
Yeah.
that dance, or Deck the Halls like we did, or football games. And this is me being the devil's advocate,
Basketball games were great because we got food.
Fair enough.
but these things are pre-scheduled. They're known. There's posters made up. It's not a all of a sudden this is happening. Other than like yes, the scoring at a football game would be that way because you can't schedule the scoring.
That'd be really funny if it was like at 3 o'clock on Friday. We are going to score.
But like
It won't happen again until 3:15.
there is something to be said about proper notice and making a proper arrangements too. Like there's like we don't know what all happened in this universe, but especially like the library scene as an example. Like Dean Hartscrabble was very involved in the scare games, loves the scare program, all those things. So clearly there had to have been some kind of notice and things given for those times, especially for using university facilities and so on. So I do have to give like grace where grace is due because yes, these things are pre-scheduled. Those people in the library, especially, it's not exactly unnoticeable that the scare games are going on.
Mm-hmm.
If something happens to you, you made the decision to be there. I'm
I
sorry.
just like hope it's not like around like midterms week, if that's when it's happening, right? Like, is it around midterms week? Is it a big test week? Are the professors notified about this? Because like I remember one time on Whitworth campus where we had a false alarm go off for how many hours?
Junior year, yeah.
Yeah, my senior year, and one of my good friends is a college professor's child. They're non-binary, and so none of the staff knew about this false alarm that went on for literally hours. Like the whole campus experienced it. Some of the off-campus people experienced it. So like literally students didn't come to class or they were falling asleep in class or they were super irritable. And so
And like this false alarm, like the school we like Whitworth has like most college campuses nowadays, they have these like emergency like light stand things
yeah.
to where like when emergency gets called, like a lockdown drill, whatever,
Which
they
Whitworth does have that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're talking about
yeah.
yeah.
they're very loud because they echo and all things. Even the dorm halls have them within the buildings, and yeah, there was this false alarm that went off for hours in the middle of the night,
And like by like 1 a.m. middle of the night.
and
So
it
like
woke so many people up. People were pissed.
and like so literally we get a text from like this person's parent being like, "Hey, did anything happen on campus last night?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, this happened." And we explained in like a text form like, "Hey, yeah, this alarm went off. It went off for hours. We didn't get like an apology from Whitworth. None of the staff knew this happened except for the security staff. So for a lot of the day, staff were just like, what the actual heck happened? Because kids are falling asleep in my class. Kids aren't coming to class. I remember I didn't come to class because I was so effing angry that I had nothing nice to say. And I got to see that professor again, and I was like, nope, not going.
I need sleep.
I need sleep. I also like it was like around the time where I was also leaving an abusive relationship. So like most of my time wasn't on homework. It was like, do I have enough housing? Like money for housing. I was setting up like the leaving.
And it was pandemic.
And it was pandemic. So it was like extra hard. But like yeah.
I don't know. Monsters University does paint this really pretty picture though of like
But also weirdly realistic. Like again, like obviously, like
Yeah.
our experiences are very well ingrained. Like it's both idealistic and realistic at the exact same
But I mean, like
time.
every student, though, I mean, our generation has been told so many times of like, get an education, go to college. And then we go to college, and then we've seen movies where college is this party. It's this exploration of like your individuality, your sexuality, your.
Very glamorized.
Yeah,
my
it is
gosh.
very glamorized. And then we come in and glamorize it.
And then it
There
goes
is
to troll.
so much more outside of that, though.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, I want to say two things. One, I am so glad that Monsters University did not touch like the drinking aspect of college. Because
They kind of did, kind of
kind of
didn't.
did, kind of didn't, because like
At least with the frat, they kind of did.
they kind of,
Yes, it-
but like it wasn't like
It wasn't like upside down beer chugging.
yeah, because like
the whole
from
beer
Yeah.
look from most movies that have about college for the United States are very much like there's a lot of booze happening and a lot of
Hookup culture,
culture and like
date rape.
yeah, all of those things and like
It is a thing though, like the
Yeah.
drugs.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Drugs, sex, alcohol, the sins, the
Look.
dirty deeds, everything.
those definitely happen in college.
I was that person. I know they happen.
I like look, I know they happen, but there's also that those people who never touch that. For example, I only knew that Jonelle knew of college parties after I graduated college. Like I knew they happened. I didn't know how you got there. I don't know where they happened.
I mean, I will tell you this is how it happened, okay? I didn't go to college parties at Whitworth for like a good month or two because I didn't know about them.
It took you a few months, yeah.
Yeah, it took me a few months to find out about them. And then I had finally started scrolling Insta because this is when I finally decided to get new socials after my relationship. And then that's when I found
Not a person.
he didn't help me find the parties, okay? Anyways,
But Jonelle knew people.
yeah, I knew people because I was in sports. And then, of course, in track and field, the coach was very much like, you don't drink or else you're kicked off the team type of thing. That never happened, though, especially with throwers. Sorry. But also, I'm not a person who likes to drink to get drunk. There's only been like a few times I have been outrageously drunk and I have regretted it, but now I get to the point where I don't do that. That's besides the point. I found it on social media though, and then it literally was just an address and with a name and then BYOB and BYOW and then the time and then you get there and then everyone is shoved in a basement and then the police come by and they lock you in the basement until the police leave and it's just non-stop and go of the police coming and they're like, everyone shh, okay, the police are gone, you can now start getting loud again. And then they get loud and then the police come by and they're like, shh, they can't know there's minors here drinking. Like, and I look back at that partying experience and I'm like, wow, we all really just got stupid loud and drank and did drugs for like a few minutes just for the police to come by again to be quiet and then did it all over again. And then there's a lot of other activities going on as well.
Reminds me of the SpongeBob meme of, want to see me do it again? Want to see me do it again? Want to see me do it again?
And it wasn't even fun. Like, you're just sitting there and you're like, yeah, more booze. I can fit more booze. And then you do the drugs and you're like, yes, I am doing the drugs. I feel so good. But that's the thing. You're literally doing nothing because you're taking mind-altering medications.
You're more just sitting there going, oh.
Yeah,
You wonder why
this
you're
is what
feeling
it looks like, people. Yeah.
You know what kind of reminds me of?
No one's actually having conversations. Everyone's just sitting there out of their mind.
Does anyone think that Randall's origin story is lame?
I do think it's lame. Like the whole reason he glares is because he's not wearing glasses. I also think that like I love the idea of Mike Wazowski and Randall being like roommates. I feel like at the beginning, I feel like they could have like Randall could have a better origin story of like why he was a dick, or they could have just started him out as a dick.
Okay, but I
Yes.
have two thoughts here. One, it's dumb that for somehow Sully became Randall's nemesis, considering only thing that happened was that last event of the Scare Games, where like Sully basically roared and shook the thing, and Randall fell and turned into pink hearts,
Because it was the carpet.
and that was the reason that he hated Sully. But realistically speaking, I can see an alternate universe where if Uzma Kappa lost, Mike would have been the villain to Randall because Randall completely ditched him.
Fair.
Yeah.
Like, I think it is effed. Like, when we see, like, Mike and Sully's, like...
Also,
like,
I didn't realize this movie was made in 2013.
oh, that reminds me, I have a funny story about it when it came out. So, Disney Store, there used to be, like, 2 or 3 Disney stores in Washington. There's only one left.
We love it.
We love it. It's great.
We go to it every single time.
But there was another Disney store close to SeaTac at the South Center Mall. And
SeaTac is like the giant
airport in Seattle. And they were having like these events or whatever around Monsters University, and so like they would have like these, it was like a trivia basically. And one time I convinced my mom, like I knew it was happening that day. I'm like, hey mom, let's go to that mall because they have the good Disney store, because it was like styled in the old way of like the old Disney stores, like very nostalgic 90s feel.
I'm gonna look up.
Ooh, that's literally the Oregon store. I know which one you're talking about.
And so I remember going there, and I had my cousin with me, and we're all like,
Which cousin?
this is on my dad's side. You don't know this one.
Okay.
And they were like answering the questions, and like they were like meant for little kids. And next thing you know, the Disney like cast member looks at us, and it looks like they can goes, "We have a couple like big kids here. We're gonna ask them a couple harder questions." And they asked me like, "Who was the actor of this character?" And I'm like sitting here, 13 years old. I'm like, I have no. Like, go ahead, embarrass me in front of these damn little kids. Thanks. But yeah, that was my own little story. Because, like, the Disney store used to have, like, all kinds of events like that. The one that's left
They were dicks. They should have created the happiest moment for you.
Right.
Honest, I was sad. But I was, like, so
They did not follow Disney policy. They do not have Disney values and missions.
Oh, my God.
They do not follow the mission statement. Okay, they should be terminated.
Oh my gosh.
Well, they are terminated. That Disney store doesn't exist anymore.
Fair enough.
Because the one left doesn't even do
I'm
the events.
pretty sure they were also like a teen, essentially, just working and being like, I don't care about this
Because it was
job.
during the summer, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
but
we do got to cut off. We're at well over an hour.
there's more to partying.
We're at
Just
college.
there's a way to find out about yourself, but you don't need to stand around and yell in the void of other people where you have no space
And college is a lot.
to find out that,
And
okay?
It's okay to not go to college right after high school. I feel like not enough people talk about this.
Look at options.
Look at options. Take a few years as gap years, and like
Go to work and get their tuition assistance money. Make
Yeah.
them pay for college.
literally.
Also, find out if the work you want to do is actually vocational or is it actually, because there's a theory in economics that you are essentially either, and sorry, I mean, I'm going to wrap this up, but you are either a technician, a manager, or an entrepreneur. So you're either going to be chasing dreams, doing the dream, or you are going to be managing the dream.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's find out which one of those people you are. Do you want to be the one who does the dream every day? Do you want to be the one continuing to grow and chase the dream? Or do you want to be the one who's keeping the dream alive?
Now, on that note, see you next week for some holiday fun.
Bye.
Bye, friends.
Bye.